Hi everyone, it's Friday and rather shockingly we've got the Friday roundup for you today. Celtic are, checks notes, hours away from returning back to the pitch and things are heating up nicely. But I want to start by drawing a line under the Riley McGree saga. Is it a saga? I'm going to go with yes. Yesterday in his broadcast media press conference, Ange kind of brushed over the McGree stuff, but he did have some much more in-depth quotes in the written press overnight. Now, as per Football Scotland, Ange said, I had a discussion with him and then he obviously decided he wanted to take an opportunity elsewhere, which is fine. It wasn't really anything too drastic for us. It's an indication for me that this isn't the right place for him. It works both ways. I only want players who want to be here. I won't try to convince any player to come and sign for this football club. I won't. If they can't see the opportunities that exist here, then that's part of the deal for me. The ones we have signed all wanted to come here. It's an easy decision. Everyone has their own free will to decide what's best for them, but I'm not going to sell this club to anyone on its attributes or virtues. If they can't understand that in the first place, then they're probably not worth talking to from my perspective. It's pretty hard to argue with any of that from Ange. Players' mentality is clearly just as important, if not more important, than actual footballing ability as far as the manager is concerned. It goes all the way back to the summer when he first came into the job and he was continually asked about, Ryan Christie, Christopher Ajer, Odsonne Edouard, would they be staying at the club? Would you be trying to convince them to stay at the club? And Ange's answer always was that he wouldn't try to convince them to stay if they didn't want to. When he was asked about making Jota a permanent signing recently, his attitude was that if the player and the club wanted to make the move permanent, then it would happen, so long as both parties wanted it. So he's very clear that he puts a lot into players wanting to be there. It's reassuring to know that every signing that we'll make under Ange will be a player who wants to be at Celtic and is driven to be at Celtic. Now, that doesn't mean that every signing is going to work out. There's lots of other reasons why transfers don't work out. But what we know is that Ange will have looked into these players' eyes and he will have seen that hunger and felt that hunger. So, well done, Ange. Really positive comments there. But not so well done, Ange, because you've burst the 67 hail January transfer hype bubble yesterday when you said that you don't expect any more signings this month. Let's just remind ourselves what Ange had to say yesterday.
Can I just confirm you don't expect any other incomings this month and you're happy with the squad as is?
Yeah. I mean, unless something sort of extraordinary comes along, or something happens within the existing squad that means we need to move. But as we speak right now, there is no other offers or people I've spoken to. So if the 20 names that come out tomorrow are all lies or fabrications or people bored at home just Googling names and throwing them up there, or agents trying to get a little bit more value for their clients. So I can't be any clearer than that. The one thing I won't do is lie. So there's no one else we're talking to. There's no other offers. There's no one else I'm showing interest in as we sit here today. If that changes, I'll let you know.
So from that, I took it that our business is done this month, unless a player who is simply too good to turn down becomes available. Now, that may have been the case with Riley McGree. He kind of became available out of nowhere. Ange had worked with him in the past. If a player similar to that became available, then Celtic may well sign him this month. But apart from that, and obviously apart from Touchwood selling any key players and having to replace them, it doesn't seem like Celtic will be bringing in any new players, but the emphasis on new there. Obviously, there's a couple of loan signings that could still become permanent. I think Jota's probably the more likely one this month. I think it's fair to say Ange a little bit unhappy there with agents linking their players to Celtic. So something's obviously irked him a little bit in the background there. But assuming things stay as Ange thinks they will, we won't sign any more new players this month. This is the squad that we will be left with for the remainder of the season. Now, this graphic, which took me about an hour to make, is a little bit misleading in some positions, like at centre-back, where we look really short on numbers, but we do, of course, have the likes of Nir Bitton and Asazi Urhoghide who can fill in. Obviously, Dason Maeda can play up front as well, but I've stuck him on the left there because from speaking to Japanese football expert Sam Robson, it sounds like that is where he is best. Now, there are a few players here that I think we need to move on either permanently or on loan this month. Today, there's been some chat around Adam Montgomery going out on loan for the rest of the season. It seems like Ange feels that would be the right move for him. Right now, he's kind of in a bit of no man's land at the moment. He's far too good for the development team, and he's not quite at the level to be a regular first-team Celtic player. So I think a loan move to another top-flight Scottish club would be a pretty good move. You could surely find one in the lower half, a St Mirren, a Ross County, even a Dundee, for Adam Montgomery to go out on loan to. Talking of Dundee, that seems like it may be the destination for Asazi Urhoghide to go out on loan the rest of the season. Obviously, his mate, Liam Shaw, has already gone out to Motherwell, so it's interesting to see Celtic looking to loan players out to the rest of the league. Elsewhere in this graphic, I think you'd want to move Barkas on. That's just too many first-team goalkeepers, I think, to have. Centre-backs, fine. Left-backs, Bolingoli should probably go as well, as Ange clearly doesn't fancy him, apart from a couple of random outings he's given him this season against Livingston and Motherwell. Of course, Josip Juranovic can also play at left-back if we're stuck. Ismaila Soro is now 5th position for the holding midfielder role, and given that Ange only plays one of them every game, I would suggest moving him on would be a good move. Suggestions of move to America in the MLS being mentioned there as well. Attacking midfield looks fine in theory with those 3 players, but we're likely to be missing all 3 for some crucial upcoming games, obviously due to injuries and also international selection. Very concerned about creativity there if we're missing all 3 of those for Tynecastle and the derby. That's a big concern that I think is grown with a lot of people. Mikey Johnson could probably get out on loan, but I'm not too bothered if he sticks around. Maeda can play up front too, as I say, so we're pretty sorted with our forward options there. So it's really only that attacking midfield role. I'd have liked one more player. Riley McGree, I think, would have been pretty good. Yes, he would probably have been a squad player at first, but it would have been another option to have, as would someone like Hannes Wolf, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. And speaking of things that seem like they're not going to happen, Kyogo playing on Monday, let's add that into the mix as well. Various reports saying that he won't make the game against Hibernian, which could open the door for Dason Maeda to start the game. If Jota is also not fully fit, and let's face it, that's very much still up in the air at the moment, then I think Ange will effectively have to choose between Georgios Giakoumakis and Mikey Johnson as to who will start there. Obviously, if Giakoumakis starts, Maeda would go out to the left wing, whereas if Johnson starts, Maeda would play up front. I think Monday is going to be a game for pace. Hibs under Sean Maloney will come and will play. And even prior to him coming into Hibs, we saw in the Cup final how important it is to have speed over the top of the Hibs defence. And I think Maeda is the guy who will give us that if Kyogo isn't in the team. So if you're fortunate enough to be going to Celtic Park on Monday, great stuff. If you've not got a ticket or can't go and you're in the UK and Ireland, you will be able to watch the match on pay-per-view, or PPV as the kids are calling it. Celtic have announced that they will offer this for the Hibs game on Monday night. It will cost £12.99, which is decent, I would say. We've certainly paid much more. I think, was there not a club last year charged like 20 quid for pay-per-view? Livingston, maybe, out of just complete chucking darts at a dartboard of Scottish football clubs. I think it was Livingston, maybe Ross County. But Celtic, £12.99, you can't really grumble about that too much. It's going to be packed on Monday night, so a lot of people won't be able to get tickets, and it's not on television. So there's an avenue there for more people to watch the game, and for Celtic to bring in even more money. So I think everyone's a winner there. Now it's time for the kind of 6 monthly VAR update. Let's just dial it back and tell you where we are with regards to VAR and bringing it into Scottish football. Now, it does seem like it's going to happen. The SPFL is set to bring in VAR and was due to meet next month, that's February, to confirm the change, with VAR being brought in after this year's Qatar World Cup. But now the Times are reporting that the meeting that was scheduled for February has now been pushed back to April, as the SPFL need more time to gather information so they can answer clubs' questions. Initial chat over implementation of VAR is said to have been positive and productive. That was from a meeting last year. So this is going to happen soon. I don't understand bringing it in halfway through the season though, as seems to be being reported. They would bring it in after the Qatar World Cup, so we'd have it for the second half of the 22-23 season. I don't see why you'd wait that long. Why not try and get it in for the start of next season? But maybe that's just me. We've got plenty more coming over the weekend as we build up to Monday evening. Just can't wait to have Celtic back in my life and back in all of your lives. Once we get into Monday, it's just going to be game after game all the way through until basically the end of the season. And we are just going to crank it up on 67 Hail Hail as well. So stay tuned to the channel over the weekend. There's far more to come.